Hello guys and welcome back to SRC TV. My name still remains Alexander Nyako, just call me SRC. Now today we are going to KNUST and I'll take you to UCC. On KNUST, let's talk about campus politics. What is going on? Today's video has been thematized as the campus presidential glitch. In summary, we'll look at how the GRASAC president of KNUST, as they say, has amended the constitution to allow him to go for a re-election, how some students have petitioned the dean of students to stop him from that act, how the president has released an official disclaimer saying that he's not the one that amended the constitution, but then the 31st Senate started the amendment and they came to complete, and how someone has also engaged whatever communique the GRASAC president had also brought. In fact, it's a whole lot of interesting facts. I have all the gist for you, and I'll take you to UCC very soon. They'll be having the election. I'll show you all the aspirants who are actually going for the UCC president. If these are the sort of news you love to hear, please do well to subscribe to this channel, like, and feel free to comment. Let's go straight to KNUST campus. Alright, so as I said, in KNUST, the current GRASAC president, the GRASAC is Graduate Student Association of Ghana. And when you are the GRASAC president, you are literally the president of both the masters and the PhD student. Now, this was a reportage from Voice of KNUST. Gabriel Alexander Kpevu, president of the Graduate Student Association of Ghana, GRASAC, KNUST, has reportedly amended the existing GRASAC constitution to allow himself to seek re-election for a second term without following proper procedures. What this means is that from the old constitution, once you are elected, you are supposed to serve just a year. You're not supposed to come back again based on the old constitution. However, based on the new amendment, it is going to give him the chance to come again. And so when this happened, it sparked so many conversations. Why is he interested in coming for a rerun? What at all is there that he wants to come again for, So it brought so many conversations. However, an MPhil student in the person of Ferguson Awuni actually petitioned the dean of students, Charlie, and I'm going to read it. He petitioned the dean of students on so many grounds based on what the current executives have done. Let's read this. Now, here we go. Ferguson Abubakari Dauda Awuni, an MPhil material science student of KNUST, has petitioned dean of students demanding a halt in the unconstitutional acts of the GRASAC KNUST president. Now, this petition comes after issues regarding the amendment of the GRASAC constitution came up. And I'm going to read what Ferguson wrote. Interesting stuff. Let me read it. Now, so this is a petition demanding a halt on unconstitutional acts of the GRASAC KNUST president. It has come to my notice as a concerned postgraduate student that the president of the GRASAC Student Association of Ghana has abrogated and continued to abrogate the 2019 GRASAC KNUST Constitution. This act of the president is in breach of Article 1, Clause 2 of the GRASAC KNUST Constitution. Hence, I am exercising the power given to me as a member of GRASAC KNUST under Article 2, Clause 1, subsection A and B, and 3 to order the president to stop these unconstitutional acts of his. Bro, this is getting interesting. I do not recognize the 2025 Constitution of GRASAC because its drafting and subsequent coming into force did not follow due process and same amounts to procedural impropriety. It also has provisions which sins against the 2019 GRASAC KNUST Constitution, which is the recognized constitution. The provisions of the 2025 Constitution perpetuate injustice and to this extent must be struck out. Now let's go to the fourth point. The due processes provided in Article 120 and 121 of the GRASAC KNUST Constitution 2019 were not followed by the president. Hence, his act is unconstitutional per Article 121, Clause 1. Clause 1 here, a constitutional review committee shall be set up by the Senate to review the Constitution. In 2, a proposal for review shall go through the same process as an amendment but must be signed by at least 120 graduate students. In any case, Article 119 Clause 2 of the 2025 Grassroots Constitution shall be subject to review at least 5 years after coming into force. So when you look at what Ferguson is saying, you could see that he has stated all the due processes that a constitutional amend should go through before it can finally be enforced. And for him, he believes all these procedures were not followed. So it'd be like he try to talk to the Grassa president to use some shortcuts to change the constitution so that he can come for re-election. Now let's continue. Also, the 2025 Grassa constitution has provided for the office of the financial secretary in Article 44 and 53, in effect doing away with the office of the treasurer, which is the recognized office and known to all, and in the 2019 Grassa KNUST Constitution in its Article 48 and Article 57. In any case, Article 24, subclause 6 of the 2025 Grassa Constitution provided that a PhD student shall be eligible for re-election. The express mention of only PhD students amounts to segregation insofar that the Graduate Student Association consists of both masters and PhD students. Once again, Ferguson is saying that looking at the 2025 constitution that they brought, you could see that they've actually signaled out the master students, and now they are saying only PhD students can run for Grassa election. And for him, he felt there is segregation. And lastly, in light of the above, the president, his accomplices, executives, is it accomplices or accomplices? I think it's accomplices. Accomplices, executives, and all other persons, cognizance, and supportive, and supportive of his own constitutional acts are hereby advised to desist, halt, and refrain from recognizing the 2025 Grassa Constitution as a supreme law. Should Mr. President fail to heed to this advice, I will be compelled to take legal action, and this a public notice. So yes, Ferguson, Dauda, Awoni, and Phil material student. So yes, this is a concerned student from the postgraduate who is actually signaling a warning to the Grassa president through the dean of students. Now, when all these rumors started happening, immediately the Grassa president had to tell his PRO that Charlie, for drop communique and let the people know that I'm not the one who amended it. So they dropped the communique saying that, well, he's not the one, he has not done anything. In fact, the amendment started from the 31st, Grassa committee, and then they had to come and conclude. So they dropped the communique, and let me read it. Now, this is from the Graduate Student Association. False claims about constitutional amendment. There has been a circulating claim that the current Grassa KNUST president, His Excellency Gabriel Alexander Tevu, has unilaterally amended the constitution to seek a second term without following due process. That claim is entirely false and misleading. For clarity, the review of the Grassa Constitution began under the 31st administration through the Grassa House of Senate. This process was later completed by the current Constitutional Review Committee under the supervision of the 32nd Grassa Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Theophilus Bechi. The constitutional reforms were not a personal initiative of the current president, nor were they driven by any self-interest. So yes, this is an official letter that Grassa had to also bring out, saying that, see, the president has no hands in this. It's not from a selfish interest or anything. But what makes this particular letter, quite a bit, blurry is from the third paragraph. Let me read it. It is important to know that His Excellency Tevu is a PhD student, and under both the old and current Grassa KNUST Constitution, PhD students are eligible to contest for re-election. That clause was never introduced by him and has always existed. So, when they said this, then students had to dig up the old constitution of Grassa and also pinpoint the exact clause that states that PhD students or master students are not allowed to rerun for election, so that they can tell them that, see, the 2025 constitution you guys amended, it is only in that one that a postgraduate student is allowed to rerun, but in the old one, the clause states is very clear that you can't rerun. After you win your election, that is it. After 1 year, go and sit down. So in this case, it means that this particular letter that came out from Grassak had a problem. But before I show you the old constitution and where they exactly stated that you can't rerun, let me finish this particular letter from Grassak. They say the narrative that he amended the constitution to favor his re-election is not only false, but appears to be a deliberate attempt to smear his name. Grassak KNUST deserves a conversation based on facts, not political mischief. So the moment they said facts, then the students dug up the old constitution and they showed them facts. And let me read that. Alright, so this is from someone on X known as Ajwa Chumwa. Now, I don't really know her, but she says that in the third paragraph of this release, it states that both the old and new constitution gave him the chance to be elected, which is an absolute lie. Attached is the release to counter your post, as well as a section of the old constitution. Thank you. And let me read that. Now, this is from the old constitution. So this section is on qualification and eligibility for election, Article 24. Any postgraduate student of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology who has spent at least one semester of study and has at least one academic year ahead of him or her. Now, number 2, so we are looking at the qualification and eligibility for election. Number 2, notwithstanding clause 1 of this article, PhD students shall be eligible to only one term in office and shall not be eligible for re-election. And so, based on this particular clause from the old constitution, it means that if you're a PhD student, you can't have a rerun. And so, based on this, it also sparked up so many conversations. And at the end of the day, this new 2025 amended constitution had to be halted. And so there was this official communique. And yes, once again, this was from Voice of KNUST. The Grassak KNUST Senate has suspended its newly amended constitution due to procedural irregularities in passing the 2025 constitution, following complaints from students and stakeholders. And yes, this is it, the suspension of the 2025 constitution of Grassak KNUST. Now, here we go. Following an emergency sitting held on Thursday, 26 June 2025, the Senate of the Graduate Student Association of Ghana, KNUST, duly convened to deliberate on pressing concerns regarding the adoption and implementation of the 2025 Constitution of the Association. In fact, upon a thorough examination of formal compliant and democratic concerns raised by members, stakeholders, and constituent bodies, the Senate observed the grave concern that certain procedural irregularities and breaches of due process characterized the events leading to the passage and assent of the 2025 Constitution. So it means that, yes, number 1, the Speaker himself has admitted that, yes, there are irregularities, and hence this amendment cannot hold water. Now, he says that while it is duly acknowledged that the said Constitution was formally passed and adopted by the Senate, the House is equally bound by its obligation to uphold the highest standards of transparency, accountability, and procedural integrity in the conduct of its constitutional affairs. In the light of these findings and by resolution of the Senate, the 2025 Constitution of Grassak KNUST is hereby suspended with immediate effect. This suspension shall remain in force pending a comprehensive review and the reinitiation of all requisite constitutional procedures in accordance with the association's legal and democratic framework. Consequently, the previously existing constitution of Grassak KNUST is reinstated as the operative and governing legal instrument for all administrative, legislative, and executive action of the association until further notice. All organs, officers, and members of the association are hereby directed to act steadily, to act strictly in accordance with the provision of the reinstated constitution, and to desist from invoking or applying any part of the suspended 2025 constitution during this period. The Senate reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the rule of law, internal democracy, and the promotion of transparent and accountable governance with Grassak KNUST, issued under my hand and sealed. Amanfo Theophilus Beshi, Speaker, Grassak KNUST Senate. So yeah, that's it. The Grassak president has been busted. And there it is. The newly amended constitution was actually enacted, with some irregularities. Students had to petition it. The office of the president had to counter it. Yet so, from the speaker, they've identified these irregularities and hence how to stop it. So if there are irregularities that are going to allow the president to have a second rerun, the question is, why is he interested in a second rerun? No one is there to dent his image. But from facts, why is he interested in a rerun? This is the problem of the day. And anyway, this is why I classify this as the campus presidential glitch.